Welcome back, everyone, to the Puff Drink Talk podcast. Konrad here.
And I'm Hilton.
And I'm George.
I'm Arthur.
I'm still Cameron.
Hey.
Cameron is still Cameron. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
I'm doing blessed, man. I'm blessed.
That's
Highly
awesome.
favored.
Glad to have you back.
Isn't it funny that every episode we go like, how are you doing? Yeah, everything all right.
Yeah.
It's a brand new episode.
Yeah.
We're the same clothes, though.
Yeah, the dude still wears the same shirt.
Yeah.
we don't shower for like 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah. No, it's good having you on the podcast. We've been learning quite a bit with all of your all the different discussions and stuff. And so I'm going to stop talking because I know you already know that what I do with peptides, and I think we're on the same wavelength of agreement of everything.
Definitely.
I'm going to let them kind of dissect your brain and ask some questions. So
All right.
As a segue of our conversation between podcasts, right?
yeah.
We know that Arthur is graduated in biology and
Right.
he wants to pursue a doctor career, right?
Yeah.
A medical career. And my question is to you, and then you can jump in
Yeah,
any
yeah,
time, right? So what do you think it takes? What do you think it will take for the academia buy the idea?
So
Understand the idea.
yeah, can I also jump in that question?
Yeah,
because I
sure.
feel that like my question is gonna maybe like complement yours.
Sure.
Yeah.
So from what I feel, a lot of this, like, because in the last podcast, you guys should watch it. It's a really good one. We're talking about like how a lot of nowadays we have a lot of schemes and people trying to sell us things that don't work, but they like try to sell that.
Snake oil.
Like I feel the biggest thing for me when I like hear about this, I don't know about peptides. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I feel there's like most of those, there are a lot of case studies. And by case studies, I mean, there are a lot of people that like benefit from that, and that's right. Like there's a lot of people that go and get cured or not cured. I know that's not the word we should say.
Sinner!
He was joking. It was a joke.
But
Let's say
it was the whiskey
fixed.
getting
The
to him.
C word.
yeah, there's a lot of people that get.
Getting fixed also
Yeah.
is not a good word.
Yeah, getting fixed is not
Yeah.
great terminology either.
There's a lot
Getting
of
better.
people. Yeah, there's a lot of people that benefit from peptides.
Right, absolutely.
But like, what about clinical studies? Like, is there any clinical studies? Do you do a lot of like put people there and then give them placebo, give them peptides,
Right, understood.
and see like take them out of all the other medication they're taking and just put them on peptides and that? Because I feel there's a lot of case studies and the case studies are good, but that's maybe why there's like a resistance from the community.
Understood.
Because we lack those
So
research.
with case,
But let me just yes.
Let me-
Yeah.
The questions are complementary, and I said like what will it take for the academia to join it, and
Right.
should we care?
right,
How much should we care?
100%.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Right. So
'cause-
just to educate,
And I,
because
I
it's
think, I think there's
educating podcasts.
yeah,
and just because I said like about the question, because I feel that like if you have more clinical studies, more academia will join. Because
yeah.
like I feel
Yeah.
that if you're academia and you have like the proof in front of you, you want to like say, okay, yeah, I agree with that.
I think that's a problem that a lot of people have is they want to automatically believe that oh well, if it was good they would. But when you talk about a multi-billion-dollar industry of big pharma
Yeah.
and the money they make, if you buy some relatively inexpensive peptide and you run it one time and it fixes the issue, I've lost a customer for life. And if we do that across a fan base,
yeah,
I mean, across a customer base, you're talking about, a $100 billion industry going away, like the people that run the world, right? I mean,
Yeah.
In loose sense of the term, but I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
the profit is obviously going to be the first thing. What runs everything? Money.
yeah.
Shortly behind greed, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it runs most of the world, unfortunately. It's not a good thing, but it is the truth of the
Yeah,
the matter, right?
So would you say like the clinical studies, they're kind of like getting, like people are like, how do you say it? Like,
we actually are working on starting a nonprofit where we can start actually trying to start running clinical trials, because the medical system's not going to do it.
yeah,
And the problem that you get to is, I mean, you're talking about a minimum of a $10 million process on the small side of a study.
yeah,
And so it's like the funding is hard to get, because it's like, hey, I want you to fund this multi-million-dollar study, and then it's going to revert people from this medicine that they're going to be stuck on for life to something they can heal their body with. That's not a long-term. There's no long-term profit margin in. so when you look at it from a business perspective, as evil as it may be, right? If I want you to continue buying this medicine that I know is going to lead you to buying this next medicine that's going to lead you to buying this next medicine, where you become a perpetual customer that is not only perpetual, but you're going to spend more and more and more every month, every year, whatever it is, where the blood work starts getting bad and they need you to take more of your blood pressure and they want more, and then you're dealing with all the side effects from metformin and from all these other things, and then you're destroying your body more and more and more, and they get to sell you more and more and more stuff. Like, that's a perfect customer setup. Like, I mean, somebody that not only is going to come back, but every time they come back, they're going to spend more. Like, send me those customers, right? Like, I mean, but so the problem with the clinical trials is not that is just trying to get them, going, right? Which is a huge thing with Peptribe is, right, we're trying to build a community of people that not only are, using peptides, like, right, like, yes, we would hope that everybody would use peptides and get the benefits, but not only that, but people that are just like yourself that, like, maybe you're not in a place where you want to use them yet, but you're willing to support that there should be more science done behind them, right? And so we're trying to use Peptribe as a way to build this community of people that are interested in peptides, right? You don't have to be on them. You don't have to be just people that are like, hey, I at least want to see more data. I at least want to see the trials, right? Because once we build the community, then we have the voice behind us. And everybody knows from social media and all that if you have a million followers and you're like, hey, we want to run these studies, you can build big money fast, right? You see it all the time when people do these heart-wrenching videos of people that don't have anything, like, hey, we're going to start a GoFundMe for them, and all of a sudden these dudes are taking them $200,000, $1 million checks, to random people. When you start talking about, we have a huge community that not only where the majority of them are using these things in healing, but then we have the underlying the people like yourself maybe that just want to see more data that are that when we're like, hey, look, this is what we're trying to do, this is what we need.
I'm not saying no.
Yeah, so
you're not saying no, right? You're saying give me more data.
That's exactly what I want to go, because, like, from a medical's perspective, like,
absolutely,
from a doctor's mind, for example, I would say that, like, I would love to see the peptides. I just, like, if I was a doctor right now, and I was like, I had a patient that needed peptides, for example, I'll be looking and I'll be like, okay, but do I have the amount of data enough, like, to say, okay, this is gonna help you, so I'm gonna give you that.
Right.
That's why, like, maybe doctors are still like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna give you that, because we have mostly case studies instead of, like, clinical trials. So
right. The question is, how do you get past this skepticism?
No, and I think for what you were asking about the stuff is on the educational side of things, it's like, when will they start doing it? When we build a big enough voice of people that have either been healed or seen the healing or want more information. When that voice is big enough, they will have no choice but to do those things. But until then, getting the funding to do those things is almost jokeable at this point, until you start building the community and get to build out all that stuff, and then you have to do all these other things to provide the money to do those things, because nobody else wants to be involved, because they don't want to see people heal. You know what I mean? And so
wasn't there like I remember you mentioning that in one of the testimonial, not one of the networking groups that we were together, and there was, like, I think it was in Florida, with a lot of people with the battling cancer, and then they started like a protocol, and then it got, like, quite a few people.
So we actually teamed up with a company out of Australia. It's a guy, he's a molecular biologist, and I believe he's a doctor of some sort. I don't know which type of D he is, but he has the D. I don't know which one it is, but be it PhD or MD or
MD,
NP,
DO,
NP, whatever he is, but he's some sort of doctor as well as a molecular biologist. But he created his own peptide molecule, and they have tested over 1,000 people with stage 3 and stage 4 terminal cancer only, and they're at a 95% complete reversal rate with all of those people. I mean, you can call it anecdotal all you want, but when his treatment's $5,000 to $8,000 for the entire protocol and being cured of cancer, it makes a lot of sense why they don't want it to be approved. It makes a lot of sense why they don't want people to hear about it, because anybody that's battled cancer or has been through cancer knows that it is super expensive and super time consuming and all these other things, and it's not like that when you're dealing with peptides. And so it makes sense when you look at it from the like a step back and take a business perspective at it, which is not cool when you're talking about healthcare, but that's just the reality of the situation, right? And so I think when you can take that lens on it, you kind of see, oh, that makes sense why they would do that. It makes sense why they don't want people to have access to peptides.
I feel that's the data we need more. We need that data out of there. You know?
And that's another reason why we built Peptribe is like, let's try to build somewhere we can try to pack as much data into one place where, especially like we have a group of doctors actually that are on Peptribe that are all using peptides, that are interested in them, and they were like, hey, we want to be able to conversate about together. We're like, hey, we would love for y'all to use our platform to go back and forth with each other, about what y'all are seeing yourselves, what you're reading about, and that was the whole another main point about being up behind the community is my anecdotal evidence, as they would call it, medically or scientifically, whatever. My anecdotal evidence is a drop in the bucket when I tell you it by myself. But when I have a community with thousands or 100,000s of people that are all saying the same thing, it's a little bit less anecdotal, right? Like, I mean, it's still anecdotal, but when you see it across a mass group of people, I think you have to lean towards, okay, maybe this isn't as anecdotal as it once. Maybe it really is about money. Maybe it really is,
It becomes a study. It becomes science, because that's what science is. It's like, try, observe, and come with a conclusion.
But science now says if you don't have a placebo group, it doesn't matter how many people you see heal from it. You didn't have any people not take it. So but I would say all of society that's not taking peptides is our placebo group. Like, let's go compare our blood work. Let's go compare our metabolic age. Let's go compare our let's go compare all these things. Let's go compare our DEXA scans. Let's go
and I agree, because like I feel the more I hear the stories of you talking and like the stories about everybody, Hilton, Konrad taking the peptides and like saying it's good, I want to learn more about it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with like the community is that like I don't know if Konrad is only taking peptides or if he's also taking something else.
And understood.
I don't know how well he's taking care of his health or other that. So that's why like maybe the more scientific minds, we want to see the clinical studies, because we have like
and we're trying as hard as we can to get the clinical studies.
We control a little more like the variabilities and like the confound the variables, so we were more sure about the results.
Absolutely understood.
And that's like I think the next step, right?
That's really what we're pushing towards. Like, we're actually doing brain scans right now with the lady from Yale. And we actually are tracing active activity from the neurotropic peptides, and we can actually I have all the studies, but we can actually show you how they affect the brain waves, what they're doing, and how they're working. So I mean, we're actually pushing the scientific side of peptides. That's why I said I don't really care about the vanity side of things, but I mean, as far as like the one of my best friends, him and his wife, their 6-year-old son is autistic. He's been in diapers up until he started peptides.
Yeah. He
started using intranasal peptides. He's now out of diapers and he's talking better. Like, he can express himself. So I mean, it's one of those things where like if especially for parents dealing with autistic children, like if you can get some help managing that, like that's night and day difference. Like, and he's like, dude, without leucovorin and peptides, like our life hasn't been the same. He's like, he's like, those two things, he's like, has changed the trajectory, of my kid. And so like being able to see people heal those kinds of things, that's fun for me. You know what I mean? That's the cool side of peptides. Like, that's the stuff I'm into. Like, I want to all these people that are just hopeless with what they're dealing with everything from, oh, I have some pain, to like, oh, I have a torn rotator cuff that never healed right, to I have horrible anxiety where I can't go in large groups of people, or I get super uncomfortable and I have panic attacks, or when you're just like, hey, dude, like, this is crazy, but like, my wife doesn't go in front of people, like, doesn't like being in groups, but as soon as she takes her Solank, she's like, hey, let's go. And she's, the life of the party per se, and, she's out there, talking and chatting people up. And it's like, that's definitely not my wife, right? Like, I don't know who that is, but that's not my wife. Somebody go get that lady. She's drunk. She must have been drinking, but so, I mean, seeing those type of things in our own life, it's like, dude, they can say, oh, it's anecdotal, and I'm like, that's cool, because every single person that I spend time with, like, that are in my group of like close friends, I think 99% of them are on peptides and have some life-altering story that they can share. Yeah. I mean, Hilton had quit drinking because of his pancreas and was like, dude, I can't get rid of this pain. I don't want to have to, I don't want to have surgery. I don't want to have to blah, blah, blah. Hilton spent 30 days on some Pancreagen and some PPC and stuff, and he's, back to drinking. So
Yeah, I can have my wine again.
it's nothing like being able you fix it so you can destroy it again, and then you fix it, destroy it.
Well,
it's not the best longevity approach, but you do what you want.
Not the right way of doing it. Yeah.
Well, Arthur, kind of on that same subject,
Yeah.
because this is one of the things that I had originally said, way back in one of the other podcasts, was how, so RFK wanted to, so back in 2023, the FDA reclassified 19 peptides as category 2, so you weren't able to study, or they were just basically banned. And now RFK at the end of July, so at the end of this month, is moving the 14 of those 19 back to class 1 so that there could be more studies done, human trial, and doctors can prescribe it to patients so that you could have more of those human trial studies and stuff.
And one thing about that, which is it sounds really cool up front, right? Because we'll get some more evidence for people that really want to see the trials. The problem is with like one of these, we've seen the treatment for it is like $200,000 a year through insurance. Like you're talking about a treatment that you should be able to get for maybe $2,000 or something for the year. And instead, you're as soon as they run the clinical trials on it, now they can block access to it. Like with retatrutide, they're trying to take retatrutide now, and so instead of being able to just go get retatrutide, you have to go through tirzepatide first. So you have to go through the crappy one, and then reach your plateau and destroy your body with it, and then they'll let you get access to the retatrutide.
Yeah.
And they're talking about I think what the last quote was like $1,200 to $1,500 a month for retatrutide. Like that's like a year's worth.
My cousin, she wanted to do the the surgery that you do in your stomach to reduce the stomach to lose weight.
Yeah, the gastric bypass, the sleeve or whatever.
And then she went to the doctor, and the doctor like, well, you gotta get fatter so that I can approve you through the insurance. and that's in Brazil. And then that's what the doctor told her. And then she was like, I don't want to get fatter. I want to get slimmer. It's crazy. So that's what it sounded to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe going like on the market side of it, wouldn't you say that if we get more like approved, because from what I feel like peptide is not something that you take like 10 months and you're done, especially like the more efficient ones, let's say for energy or like for your pancreas or like, you probably need to keep going like an insulin, like you're never going to get out of it.
Most of them you're going to run for like 8 to 16 weeks and be like, this is good to go. Which I mean, it really is like it's mind blowing. Like I hate some of the peptide stuff because you feel like you almost feel like a snake oil salesman, right? Because it's like we can show you we could show you all the data on people fixing whatever you're dealing with peptides. Like we can show you the people that have gone through it. We can show you at minimum, rat models, where you could see how it works. Like I mean, and then it's funny too. I was watching this thing on vaccines today. Like, there's no control group for vaccines when they study vaccines.
Yeah.
Every other thing in the world that's approved by the FDA, it has to have a control group. They don't have a control group for vaccines. So everybody's like, oh, it's not FDA approved. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. How many vaccines did you give your child when they were born as a baby? You let them inject all this crazy stuff that had no control group. You just think it's safe because they push it on you. And then so I mean, I think it goes both ways, right? I think there's positives and negatives with everything. I just think that this is the safer, healthier choice, and I hope they do all get approved because then it puts up an argument for everything else and furthers the community. I mean, that's the whole goal with that we want for our nonprofit is to put our supply company out of business, to where you get all these things approved because they're so incredibly safe that. Once they get approved, you could go to freaking a Walgreens or whatever, and it's got your whole selection right there on the wall, and you can actually start healing everybody. That's long-term goal is for everybody to see the benefits and be able to have open access to them anytime they want.
Yeah. But I feel that's like what's on the screen that Konrad is showing. Like that's a big step.
Oh, it's definitely.
Like getting it approved to like at least do the clinical trials. Yeah. I'm sure like a lot of universities and schools, especially like you were talking about the molecular biologist. I'm pretty sure he probably has like a PhD. Probably. So he's probably like doing research.
Right.
So he's probably like right now he's like, okay, I can start doing my research,
Right.
And he can go and like do clinical trials or do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just getting it approved, it's going to be a big step.
But the thing is, Arthur, back to that, some of these have been like none of these peptides just recently meticulate.
Yeah, all these have been around since like the 60s, 50s.
Yeah, like there has
I mean, and
been
there's- and if
there
you
has been trial studies for literally like the past 40 or 50 years, and it wasn't until like I was saying until 2023 where the FDA just randomly was like, nope, they're not. They're not category
And a lot of-
category 1. They're category 2 now.
And a lot of people want to push away all the Russian studies that have been done, which have some of the best data, because they were trying to create like super soldiers. So like but they're like, oh, it was done in Russia, so it's not valid. You can't listen to anything that was studied in Russia. It's no good. But they have all these people that they were doing crazy high doses on stuff with and having great results. How is that not good data?
Actually, I was
Like-
about to ask that. Do the army use this? Were they have a special approval for the past 20, 30 years? Did they have access to that, or it's prohibited because the American?
I'm not sure.
I have no idea. I know you can go to a men's health clinic right now and get BPC. You can get AOD. You can get CJC, ipamorelin. You can get MOTS-C. Like half of this stuff is already available at your local men's health clinic. Like from a doctor, from a nurse, that's working, from a nurse practitioner that's working under a doctor. Like, I mean, it's like you can go get it, and you can pay the $300 a month or the $150 a month to be part of their club, and then you can pay their super expensive prices to get your peptides and all that other stuff. And cool, do it. I mean, it's great. At least you're doing peptides. I don't care. I don't care where you buy them or how you do them. Just do them, study them, and do them. Heal your family.
When I was in the Marine Corps, I didn't get anything like that.
That
was, at least to my knowledge. But then again, it was always like, hey, everyone has to go to doc, and it's time for your shot. So I don't know what the hell they injected us with.
Okay.
I'm sure
We weren't allowed to ask questions.
Yeah, no, they're just like, line up here. You're gonna get this, this, and this, and then like move on to the next person. So there could have been something, with this. I don't know. Yeah, it was definitely a cocktail
You're not
of
saying
injections.
it was. You're just saying that it could.
I don't have the knowledge of what it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's in some of my medical records that I could like dig up and find, but I can tell you that if any of this stuff was available when I was in, then it would have been a different experience, 100%.
Okay. And actually, I know time is almost there, but how about this controversial of the TRT that Hexath has suggested or imposed?
It's a suggestion.
A suggestion, right?
So, service members over 30 can get their testosterone levels tested if they approve of receiving TRT to elevate their testosterone levels back up to a healthier range. Then the government or the military will pay for it. For someone who is on TRT, I've been taking testosterone. It's the best thing that I've ever done. It is, as I put peptides up there, TRT is number one. Testosterone is number one in my opinion.
I would definitely would have leaned that way. I've definitely done a lot of testosterone along with, I've tried Tren and all kinds of stuff, but testosterone is awesome. It's just a lifetime commitment, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where it was hard for me. And I was like, dude, I don't want to be stuck having to pen T for the rest of my life. And so I actually went through a peptide protocol with HMG and HCG and enclomiphene, and you can naturally, and kisspeptin, and you can naturally fix your levels. You can fix production all the way from the brain signaling pathway to all the way to the testes, production signaling pathway themselves. And so we actually have quite a few of us that are involved with our team have gotten off of TRT using peptides and then have fixed it to where I don't use those peptides anymore, but I have the benefits of it, right? The raised T levels.
Right.
So that's just another option, And I'm not hating on TRT. I love TRT. That was for fixing like depression and like, all this other things that men deal with. Like fixing your T levels is super important.
Yeah.
Just make sure if you do it right. Like a lot of men's health clinics go there and like, oh, just pin your T once a week and take your enclomiphene. Like, no, break your T down to as many injections as you can take a week. Because the more you break it down, the less of a hormonal roller coaster that your body goes on, and the better you're going to get all of the benefits and a whole lot less of the side effects.
100%.
And so it's once again, it's a lack of education in the space, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we keep running into, especially when it comes to health and wellness, right? And so that's why we're partnering with a lot of groups, Health Hustlers, downtown Austin, Austin Wellness Collection up north, like Cedar Park area, Hutto, Hippo Social out of Hutto, like big wellness groups, and like that's a lot of what all of us are trying to bring to people is education in all the different aspects of wellness, right? Because like like I said before, it's not all about peptides. It's not like this is the only answer, right? Because peptides are cool, right? But if you're not taking the cofactors that go along with your peptides, you're not going to get the benefits like you should, right? If your body's low on CoQ10, you can take all the stuff you want, but it's not going to have the building blocks that it needs, right? So it's like you can do all these things, right? Like you can take all the copper you want, but if you're, you need zinc as well, right? Especially when you start raising trying to raise your copper levels, right? So it's like people want just a simple solution. The reality of the matter, it's not just, you don't get just a simple solution. Welcome to having a body. Welcome to have a perfectly made gift from somebody that you're geared towards messing up for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So we just like to be involved in that entire community where we can help you get education, not only on peptides, but all the other things that are massively important, right? From personal training to nutrition to everything else, every other aspect, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things that we can do to create a better life for ourselves, and a different form of living. Like me, 100 pounds down, it's night and day, bro.
Yeah.
Like playing with my kids to like feeling good in how I look in clothes to like, it's nonstop, right? Everything is better. My sleep is better because I'm not fat and having trouble trying to breathe, right? Like, it's just quality of life changes so much, in dealing with that and seeing everyone else that we've dealt with over the time that we've been going is just like, there's no reason to stop. Like, help people heal, bro. Yeah. Teach them all the other things that go along with it. Make sure they're getting the full package, right? Don't ever be like, oh, well, like we have a great friend, Ron. He's a farmer's insurance guy. He's the greatest dude in the world, man.
I was in last week.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So love Ron to death, right? And he's like, I've been on the same vitamin regimen for 30 years. He's like, I feel like I can't get any better off of vitamins. I'm like, dude, you're gonna be prime. And he literally started peptides, and like within 3 days, he's like, bro, I feel amazing. He was like, my brain's operating faster, my body feels better. He's like, dude, I think he lost a link off his belt just with MOTS-C.
Yeah.
Like, just because his mitochondria were functioning back like they were supposed to. Like, it's, oh my gosh, you fix your basic operating systems and things start functioning better. It's crazy. It's, it's almost almost unintelligible. You can't even understand it, Crazy how that works.
But what was your comment about TRT?
No, I'm just listening.
Yeah.
Because I don't know much about it. I just want to know from your perspective, since we are talking about enhancements.
Yeah.
Right? So, shamans were about this. Like we were talking about this for over 3,000 years. We always try to find the secret, the pill. Right? The pill, right? So we're always try to find one thing that is going to solve. So he said, like, if I understood right, certain combinations of peptides would make it TRT. Maybe I wouldn't even have to do that.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely another option.
If you follow a protocol, I understand. I just don't want to sound that it's miraculous, right?
Right.
But that's the idea. So if you bring less side effects and give you, let's say, 90%, 80% of a TRT would give me, I would opt for that.
Yeah.
There is a pill that fixes your hydration level, and it's interesting because you take this one pill with one full glass of water every 1.5 hours. It fixes your hydration levels in your body.
Wow.
Because you're drinking 1.5 cups.
I was just gonna say, you're drinking 1.5 cups of water.
I was about to say, like, what are you talking about, dude? You're drinking water every 1.5 hours.
That's ridiculous.
It fixes your hydration levels. So.
Yes.
Well, are we at the end?
Yeah,
of this podcast?
I think so, yeah.
God damn it,
I
Hilton.
tried to throw a joke in there.
It's a good ending.
Thank you very much for listening us ramble on. Like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, and all that fun stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Cameron.
Thank you, Cameron.
y'all.
Yeah, it was informative. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.